That's the best you could come up with? What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Anastasia. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing another story time, and this time I'm going to be dishing out a little bit of tea. Of course, I'm going to be changing the names of everybody in this situation just so that nobody tries to hate on this person or people that are involved. And so yeah, I'm going to be telling you guys about the time that I got dumped at a football game. Exciting, I know. Alright, so if you guys would like to see that story, just keep on watching. Alright, so freshman year, what a surprise, guys. It was the beginning of the year, of course. Actually it was like the very beginning of the year. I was in ROTC, and for this situation we're just gonna name him Jake. So Jake sat down in front of me, and he was just like, hey, and I was like, hey, I think you're in my 5th period class, and he was like, oh really? I thought I would have noticed you before. Like, that's nice. But anyways, and that was I think that was the first week of school. For a while on, he would kind of catch up to me at the end of class, when we were walking to lunch. Oh, I think he DM'd me on Instagram, and he kind of flirted with me, and then he asked for my number. But I kind of I didn't take it as flirting because I just I didn't want to assume anything. I wasn't in the mindset to get into a relationship at all. At the beginning of the year, I just this is high school, I'm still trying to find my way around, if you know what I mean. He started sitting at lunch with me, then we kind of started vibing a bit more, and I was like, okay, so maybe I actually like this guy. And we talked for a while. I asked him on a date, actually. Look at me being courageous. But I asked him on a date, and he was actually had to do something for the class that we had together, ROTC. There was a fundraiser, and it was a movie night kind of thing, but he was like, I'm busy all of that weekend, but I am working that fundraiser on Friday, so you should come and we can hang out and stuff. And I was like, sure, whatever. Since it wasn't an official date, I didn't expect anything. So I go to the room, because the building where we have ROTC is separate from everything else. So I went to that building, and I was just pacing back and forth outside because I was really scared that I showed up early, or that I wasn't at the right place, or I didn't know what was going on. And I ended up calling the guy, and I'm just like, hey, I'm outside. Well, I asked him if I was at the right place because there wasn't really any cars outside, and there wasn't any signs. So I just called him and talked to him about that, and then he came outside and he met me, and then he hugged me. And we went inside and I paid and stuff. I sat by him while he was doing all of the check-in stuff. He grabbed my hand, and I don't know, he was just kind of cuddling against me and stuff. And so we just kind of hung out that whole time. I don't know, it was really surprising to me, even now that somebody found interest in me that early on in the year. But we'll get to that. So after this whole night, it was raining and stuff when it was time for me to go. So we ran around the school. Before I left, we kissed. Yeah, I was really excited. So after that, that's when I started getting kind of because then he started talking about getting more serious, and I don't know, I was just back up. We just had our first kiss. We ended up talking for about a full month. We started calling each other babe and stuff. So I really thought that he was gonna ask me out soon, and he even put in my reminders you're so cute, and then his name, Jake. We kind of hung out and stuff, and then at lunch one day I was just really stressed out, and then I laid on his shoulder for a second, and then he got all weird about it. And when I was getting close to him after lunch, then he got really uncomfortable, which kind of weird, because if you guys have been talking for 3 weeks, for me, my experiences, you guys start to get close. People are holding hands at that point and stuff like that. That's normal, even if you're just talking. I asked him about it, and he was like, well, I just prefer not to do that stuff at school. And I was like, what? from then on it was just kind of normal. Like, he cared about me and he called me babe, and like skipped to a Friday. It was like the first football game of our football season. I'm pretty sure it was September 9th, 2016, which is weird that I know that, but I did parking detail and he did that, and I mainly went because he was going so I could hang out with him at the game afterwards. But he was doing something different. He was doing security and I was doing parking detail, and then like I met more of his friends, and I kind of like I got paired with them for the parking detail, and you have to like remember that because that's an important part of this. So I was with his friend, let's just name him Tyler. So I was with his friend Tyler, like this whole time, like we were just hanging out, like I was helping them with the signs and whatnot, and then he told me something. He was like, be careful because he talks to a lot of girls. And me being naive, I was just like, yeah, but I mean maybe he's not gonna do that to me, like, don't kid yourself. After parking detail, I went back to the room with Tyler, and I just kind of hung out with him because we were like the first ones done and we couldn't leave until everybody else was done. So I waited until like we were kicked out, like we got pizza and then we were kicked out, and they were like, go enjoy the game and stuff like that, but we don't want you in here. I went with Jake's friend Tyler into the game because Jake was like, well, why don't you just wait with me until Jake's done with security and then we can go find him and then you can hang out with him. And so I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because I didn't know anybody else, like, going to that game. Like, I went for Jake. I went to the game with Tyler, and we just kind of found a place to sit. We were just like, this probably isn't going to be that long. And then after a while, like, I tried to talk to Jake, but then he didn't, like, respond to me. And so then I called him to ask him where he was, and, like, he called me first, but, like, I didn't see it, and so I missed it, and so then I called him back, and then I was trying to talk to him to ask him where he was, and then after a while I gave the phone to Tyler because Tyler was friends with him, and so he would be able to like better let him know. Jake hung up, and I called him back after a while because he still didn't find me, so I was asking him, and he was like, is Tyler there? And I was like, yeah, he helped me, like, he's gonna help me try and find you, he's your friend, and I didn't really know anybody else. And then he just hung up. I try and text him, and I'm just like, hey, where are you? I want to see you before you leave so that I can at least like say hi to you and stuff like that. And he was like, well, you should have waited me at the ROTC room. I was kicked out of the room. What did you want me to do? Like, you are not about to blame me for being kicked out and not waiting for you. And also, you weren't talking to me, like, during that whole time because, like, we were busy and you were busy, so how are you going to get mad at me about that? And then, so, I just walked around with Tyler. I tried to talk to Jake more. Like, I kept on trying to text him, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to leave soon. I mean, I really want to see you before you go, or before I go. Jake was like, well, why don't you have Tyler walk you out? He'll probably kiss you goodnight. You don't even understand how mad that made me. You are not. You cannot be blaming me for this situation. You are being so frustrating. Like, why would you... How can you blame me for a situation I had barely any control over? You can't get mad at... Like, I wasn't even doing anything with Tyler. I had never met this kid in my life. I was not interested in him whatsoever. So there was no way that he should be getting mad at me about this. And it was like a total, like, 180. Like, he freaking just... He was done. Like, he had such an attitude and he was so rude. And I was just like, what is going on? Keep in mind, like, earlier that day, Jake came to visit me, and he was like hanging out with me, and like we were fine. And then like I said goodbye to him and I hugged him goodbye, and he was like, I'll see you later and whatnot. And like we were freaking fine. So in the span of a few hours, everything was flipped. Like, where's the logic? After that, I was like, are you really gonna be rude? And he just didn't respond. And then Tyler started texting him, like, on my phone, and he was just like, dude, why are you doing this? Like, don't be a dick. I was like, where are you? Because I want to talk in person. Jake was like, I already left. You were here 5 minutes ago. I doubt that you left. Tyler helped me find one of Tyler and Jake's mutual friends, and so I talked to her, and she was like, oh yeah, he's right over there. At this point, I was for real so upset. I was not about to have him disrespect me and then, like, shoo me off for what? What did I do? What did I do? So I was like, we need to talk. He just, like, looked at the game. Like, he wasn't even looking at me. And, like, I was, like, staring at him, like, do you not see me? Do you not see me? Am I invisible? So I was like, hey, are you mad? Like, what's wrong? And he was like, oh, nothing. Everybody knows that when somebody says nothing like that, like, you know that something's wrong. So I was just like, why are you upset? Like, I didn't do anything. Like, I was just asking Tyler for help to come and find you. So why would you be getting mad? He was like, listen, Anna, I think you're a really good person, but I'm really busy, and you're really young. We are only 1 year apart, not even 1 year. And this boy had the audacity to tell me that I am too young. We were fine, like, an hour ago. He continues on, and he's like, I just don't want to ruin your freshman experience. I don't want to ruin your high school experience. Like, that's the best you could come up with? You lying pile of crap. All of the crap coming out of his mouth, I couldn't even see straight. Like, let that sink in, how stupid that was. I left, and because I was just, like, not staying there. Like, I wasn't gonna put up with it anymore. Like, I was so annoyed. I legit, like, the next day, I asked him, like, I went over, like, all the things he said, and I was just like, this is not a good excuse. Like, what is your real excuse? Because this is just some BS you were spewing. Like, this is not, like, look in a dating handbook on how to break up with people 101, and this is at the top of the list. Like, this is so cliche. Like, so I talked to him, and I was like, yeah, and he was like, yeah, I really don't have feelings for you anymore. So, like, I was just, like, upset, and I was just over it, and I just, like, didn't care anymore, and I'm just like, whatever, I'm not gonna be really upset over you. Like, I don't have time for this. After, like, a while, like, we became friends again, and, like, he would sit with me at lunch, like, we would FaceTime and stuff, flirt with me at times, and he ended up asking me to homecoming, and that's for another story. If you want to hear that story, leave it in the comments below. But, yeah, he's just an overall sketchy guy, and he's for real, like, messed over some of my friends, and I don't have any interest in talking to him ever again, because he's just a word I'm not gonna say. But yeah, that was it for today's story time. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Every time I think about it, it makes me very heated. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe down below for more videos every week. Make sure to comment for any videos that you guys would like to see in the future, and I love you all so much. I will see you next week. Bye.